Hello and welcome back to another episode of Forbidden Off-Road. Today we are working on the JL again. If you remember a couple videos ago I put out, we had some issues with our auxiliary battery on the trail, and we actually ended up doing a battery delete on the trail. So this video is going to be highlighting that battery delete and showing you exactly how we did it, the steps that we took to get the rig back up and running again, and basically going to step by step you through doing the auxiliary battery delete. It's a super simple modification that makes a world of difference. Okay, so now that we've got the hood open, we can start working on exposing the auxiliary battery, which is underneath your main battery for the vehicle. So mine's a bit of a mess right now with wiring and whatnot. So we're gonna yank that stuff out of there, and we're gonna yank this, this main battery out. Okay, now that we've got the terminals removed from the battery itself and removed the 10mm bolt from just down there, we can actually remove the main battery now from the system. He says. Gotta remove this first. Then the battery slides towards you. Sometimes it can get hung up on stuff. Just make sure those cables are out of the way, like that. There we go, and it should be able to just lift out from there. Okay, and then what you're left with is a nice little hatch here with two 10mm bolts. Let's get our trusty DeWalt and make sure there's a 10mm on it. I'm gonna give a full list of what tools are needed to do this job at the end of the video. Very simple. Okay, there's two bolts to remove that cover, and then off comes your auxiliary battery cover. So there we go. That's your auxiliary battery. It's very small. I'd say it's about 5 inches by about 3 inches. It's super tiny, kind of resembles a motorcycle battery. And this is the battery that keeps dying on the newer Jeeps, the JLs and the JTs. This battery is only in this vehicle for the auto stop start feature. If you don't use your auto stop start feature, this battery sits and does nothing, and it dies. So let's get this battery removed. Looks like it's pretty lodged in there. Okay, there you go. Now we have a little hole that's left where the old battery used to go. Once the battery is removed from the housing, you can go ahead and put your cover back on. You can go ahead and put those 10mm bolts back in that we just removed. So now what you're left with is your 2 terminals from your auxiliary battery. This is going to be your negative, this is going to be your positive. Okay. Okay, so now that we have the auxiliary battery out and we've exposed the harness for that battery, what I've done is I've gone ahead and taped off the negative because we're not going to need that anymore, and I don't want it grounding out on anything that it's not supposed to, which leaves your positive terminal. Now there's a little modification you have to do to this terminal. You have to bend this little flap right here, you have to bend it flat. I'm going to use a crescent wrench, a mini crescent wrench, because it's the easiest. But all you're going to do is bend that terminal flap down so that it's flat. Can you see that? Perfect. That's all the modifications you need to do to this thing. Okay, so we need to pull the harness out of the battery tray area and just tuck it to one side for a moment. Essentially, at this point, your main battery can go back in. So let's plop the main battery back in its housing. There we go. Like that. Get it sat back in its place. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure that your lock fits. Oh, don't lose it, Jack. I think I've lost it now. Come on. Here we go, I got it. Sorry guys, didn't mean to do that. Oh, I had it in backwards, that's why. Okay, so this little lock has these 2 channels. Those mate up with the battery tray closest to me. Once you get your eyes in there, you'll see that. Okay, that's found its home. 10mm bolt that we took out earlier, that goes straight back in there. And then we get that 10mm again, put the extension back on it, and send her home. Now your battery is fully secure back where it's supposed to live. And essentially from here, you can just start putting your terminals back on, just like you were to regularly remove your battery. Okay, so we take your modified terminal that we took from the auxiliary battery, and you basically just run that straight over the top to your existing 12 volt terminal. And I forgot to show you, you got to take this 10 mil off. If you can see that, it's the one that's closest to the body. Remove the nut from that, and essentially you just place the auxiliary battery positive right over top of that, and your nut goes back on. Get that in there like that. And then basically you're just putting your negative terminal back on like you regularly would. Okay. Your negative harness for your auxiliary battery is just going to be hanging around in your engine bay. You can cut it and tape it up, keep it out of the way. Or you can just do what I've done and tape up the terminal end and just tuck it away. Okay, and then at this point, basically just putting everything back the way it was. I'll take all my wiring for my lights and whatnot and push them all back down inside here. Put your terminal cover back on. You may want to cut that little section out there just so it sits down nice and flush. Okay, so essentially that's the auxiliary battery delete in a nutshell. I'm a backyard mechanic. This is not a proper shop or anything like that. So this is how I've done the delete myself. Other shops and other places may do it differently to me. So definitely don't take my word for it, but this is how I did it, and it works just great. You saw what happened to our Jeep out on the trail.
I think I have 24. Or 27.
I didn't turn those on.
The auxiliary battery died, and everything went haywire. Window wipers were going, lights were flashing, all by themselves. So that essentially fixed the issue. We just removed the terminals, the harnesses from the auxiliary battery, wired it in the way I showed you to do it, and that fixed all the issues. We were able to continue on and enjoy the rest of the day. One last thing I want to talk about before I go, and that is warranty. I'm sure you guys have lots of questions about whether or not this modification voids your warranty. I know for a fact that the auxiliary battery, when it does die, because it inevitably will die, it's not covered under your powertrain warranty, which is why a lot of people buy Chrysler products, because we have a great warranty. Most times it's 100,000, K, 5 years, something like that. This is not covered under that warranty. It's covered under your comprehensive warranty that you get with the vehicle, which is a lot smaller than your powertrain warranty. So I know a lot of people who've been burned by this. Their aux battery has died on them randomly, because that's what they do. It sends your Jeep into a frenzy. Most people think, oh my God, I've got a bunch of gremlins in my Jeep. It's not that, it's your battery. So the best thing you can do is to delete it. It's not of any real use anyway. The only reason it's there is to accompany your main battery when it comes to the auto stop start feature that most of these new rigs have. But your auto stop start still works even without the auxiliary battery there. It's just the aux battery is kind of a piggyback to your main battery. Without it, you may experience a little more wear and tear on that main battery, but it's not going to hinder anything, any performance-wise, from your Jeep. So not having it, it can go away, and then all of a sudden, you never have that niggling feeling in the back of your head like something's going to happen tomorrow. My Jeep's not going to start. As you can see, we got everything back together again. It was about a 15-minute job. I feel like anybody could do this job. So I'm gonna put a list together here of the tools needed. I did 95% of that work with a 10 mil socket, and the other portion was, you saw I use a little adjustable wrench to flatten out that terminal there. So it's a super simple job. Anybody could do this job, and you have peace of mind. Thanks again for watching the channel, you guys. We massively appreciate the support. We do have merch available. This is not one of them. So make sure you head over and you grab yourself some Forbidden Off-Road merch. We got hats, we got toques, we got everything. So head on over, grab yourself some cool swag. The holiday season is coming. I know that everybody likes clothes for Christmas or hats or toques or whatever. And every single item that you guys buy, some of it gets kicked back to me and it helps support the channel and make these videos. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.